Pixie Dave 95. Hope this helps, Souza. Oh, yeah. The emoji of the biting lip there. Always good. Mason, what's up, dude? Sevon is buying Souza time by building suspense. Don't need much suspense built on this show. We're gonna break into quite a few things. We're gonna lay out all the fun, juicy gossip that happened over like the last 2 weeks or so. Gotta love the little instrumental here. What's up, Standy? Even excited to see you. Isn't that crazy? Oh man, does he have an actual news on sale or buyer? That's a great question, Edward. We're gonna get into a whole bunch of these things. There's something about like the 80s instrumental that is always good. I don't know why. All right, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well. No show last week. Saved up all the good stuff for this week. Let me get all my stuff. I was just having too much fun organizing my notes with all this stuff. How much will we get through? We don't even know. Okay, get that. Testing out the Roadcaster. Switching over here, so when I read stuff off, I'm still making direct eye contact with you guys. So that's cool. I'm so pumped. We're getting our internet squared away, like our mobile internet. And if this thing works exactly as we hope it will, and it should, given all our research, it's going to be amazing. I'm super pumped because once we get this internet thing figured out, we could do stuff anywhere. Ernie, how you doing? What's up, man? Morning, Souza. Dude, I'm almost done with Courage to be Disliked, and damn, it's a good read. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that book really got me thinking. It's like, it's been Savon's probably sick of hearing it too, because every time we talk about something, I like reflect and I'm like, yeah, man, it's just their interpersonal relationship with themselves. That's the problem. I got a bunch of cool stuff. I almost had so many little clips and different things that I was collecting for you guys that I almost forgot some of the ones on Instagram that I had. One of them's wild, dude. One of them is wild. I'd be annoyed too. Dude, Standy, I would bring so much value and joy to your life. It wouldn't even be compared to your normal life now. We'd hang out for like 2 hours and then you'd be like, damn, that dude's really freaking cool. You know what I'm saying? So cool. I could just give myself an applause. Every time I leave the room, that's how you'd feel, Standy. Trust me. Okay. So yeah, some crazy stuff. Dude, my algorithm has been, I don't know if there's something that changed in Instagram or what the deal is, but dude, it's like everything is either 9/11 conspiracy or just a bunch of, I don't know, just a bunch of out there stuff. And of course, I got one of them for you guys today. But before we break into the tabloid stuff, we'll take a vote. We'll do a poll real quick. Where do you guys want to start? You guys want to start with hold on, let me bring up YouTube here. You guys want to start with some Yeshua talk? It's the theme of the show, isn't it not? So we could start there, or we could start with women's rights. And don't you worry, we're gonna get all the front CrossFit stuff. But before we do that, I just want to do this. Okay. Is it a conspiracy theory? Yeah. It's definitely a conspiracy theory. Start Q&A. Okay. Which no, not a Q&A. Here, we could switch to this. Does this feel like I'm still looking at you guys now, even though I'm completely ignoring your comments? Hold on. It's not a Q&A. We do a Q&A on here where people actually type in answers. That's nuts. Jesus or Hitler? Those are your choices. Which one? Which one first? Start the poll. What do you think? Souza, do you even believe in the Lord? What do you mean? Do I even believe in the Lord? Yeah, we're all here for a reason, right? What if I told you, Heidi? Would you believe me that I'm actually reading the Bible and have been for a little bit here now? Would you believe that? Would you have faith in me? Damn, you guys are crazy. 54% Hitler, huh? Okay, now we're 50-50. What a like, what a comparison. I would believe you. Influenced by Dave? Sure. Influenced by Dave. I'm also, let's not turn this into a shit show. Dude, this is 100%. You know what, Mason? Don't come in here with that attitude, all right? Don't you tell me what to do on my show, okay? Don't you do that. Not to me. What did Nick say? Nick, what's up, dude? We have Jesus and his followers to thank for women's rights. Interesting. Interesting. You're going to get whatever the I give you guys. Try not to cuss either. I'm trying to not mess up my algo. You know what I mean? Always start with the hottest drama first. I don't know. Lauren, what's up? Is it a conspiracy theory, though? It's a, you're talking about the algorithm? I don't know. Souza is feeling the clarity. That's from earlier when everybody assumed I was rubbing one out. AKA Jesus show. Okay, got it. I see what you're saying. Jesus are fawning. All right, 63% of you guys. Only 27 votes. There's 103 of you watching. 25 of you. See, this is the problem. Nobody votes. Everybody wants to have autonomy and power, but then when it's come time to vote, you forget. Dang it, I cussed. Can't even vote on the show. You don't even need ID. You don't even need ID to vote. You guys don't even do it. Still there like, it'll save democracy. Save democracy on YouTube. How about that? All right, we're going to go with Jesus. It's time. We decided. There's 30. I missed the question. It says which is first. Sandy, come on. Dude, I'm working here. Shush. Okay, sorry. Yeah, if you're driving or working, I guess it doesn't. All right, we're going to end the poll. 65% say Jesus. That's what we're going to go with first. Here we go. Here we go. We'll start with this. Probably good before we start with this before we break into all the gossip, huh? We're gonna have to like ask for forgiveness afterwards or something. Don't you dare change my screens. Here we go.
Told the wrong story. What if Yeshua wasn't crucified for saying he was the Son of God, but for showing us that we all are? What if his teachings weren't about worship, but awakening? What if the true message of Christ wasn't about following, but remembering? When he spoke, to you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom, but for others they are in parables. Luke 8:10. Secrets are the hidden wisdom, a direct path to the divine, one that bypassed temples, priests, and hierarchies. This wasn't just about faith, it was about power. To the religious elite, he was a threat. To Rome, he was a disruption. To those who sought to keep divine knowledge locked away, he was dangerous. After his death, his story was rewritten. The mystical Christ, the one who taught the kingdom is within you, was buried beneath layers of doctrine. The ones who remembered, the mystics, the seekers, the teachers of the hidden ways were erased, persecuted, cast into the shadows of history. But what if the truth cannot be erased? What if no matter how many times it's buried, it always finds its way back? And what if that moment we are in is now? What if the remembering has already begun? Thank you, and I love you. What if we've been told the wrong story?
Oh, I know it's going to piss some of you guys off. I know it is. Somebody said, that's literally the opposite of what Jesus said. I know. That's why I like it. That's why I like it. Literally is a satanic agenda to make yourself God. Isn't it great? It's all, even in his name, we deceptively alter to hide the truth. Dang. Crazy, right? I don't know. I love getting into all that stuff. Also, too, like I'm always just like open to it. Like the other opinions of stuff don't offend me that much. Like I just like like the whole flat earth thing. Like people just get so worked up over that. And you're like, fuck, relax. It's all right. You can just explore. It's okay. Don't you don't you worry. Okay, we're gonna get right into Dumbbell Gate. Right into Dumbbell Gate. Now we're gonna get into all the Trassy stuff. Gave you guys something to think about there. And let's move into here. Okay, so what do we got here? The barbell spin. Is this news? I don't know. Is it news? Maybe Andrew Hiller should make the video. Okay, what do you guys think about this? We could probably use without the music. What do you think? the whole tapping, touching. This is how you screw yourself up. This is how you make a bunch of stupid things that make it like, look at that. It like touches and it kind of doesn't touch and it touches. It's like, dude, how in the world are you going to have, like, just let them touch, dude? Just go to the simplest freaking form. Do you think that if Jason does his dumbbells like that and everybody else is allowed to do their dumbbells like that it gives Jason any advantage? No. Just make it like that's the best part about the box jump over. You jump on the box, you get on the other side. The rep counts. Why is it chest to bar pull-ups over regular pull-ups majority of the time? Because you go to full extension and then your chest touches the bar. You start to have all these complicated rules, like that step up thing or whatever. You're just making it so much harder for everybody involved. Just let it do its thing. Mason Mitchell, the dumbbells will touch, especially with the larger hex 70s versus the smaller metal ones. 100%, dude. CrossFit does that identify as a touch. What is the debate? This is what the debate is about, for fuck's sake. Yeah, dude, this is what the debates are always about. It's always stupid slights of standards. Like, just simplify it, dude. If it's online, guess what? You forfeited a lot of stuff, a lot of creativity and programming. It's online. You have two things. You can make your programming creative and have it online, and you're going to have a bunch of discrepancies. Or you just make it as simple as possible, so it's very cut and dry. You did it, yes or no. Typically, people that complicate, like, how they film their video or what they wear or where it's positioned and all this other shit, like, you're just trying to, like, skeet little fucking corners. Just do it right. Set up your freaking camera. Don't wear all black so we can see you squat. Make sure you have two of them going. Charge your batteries. Have it, like, it's just you want to call it a professional sport, but you can't even have the simplest of rules, A, put together by the entity that's putting on the competition, one, and then B, by the freaking athletes whose whole entire career depends on it. Crazy. It just goes into, like, this whole entire, like, CrossFit ecosystem. Like, and we're going to get into the WFP. We're going to get into the MetFix thing. We're going to get into Yeshua number 2, Brian Friend. And it's just nuts to me. It's like, we have this. Yeah, we're going on a rant now. You have a town. I'm going to use Livermore as an example of 100,000 people. Okay, there's 100,000 people in this town. You have 2 CrossFit gyms. This reminds me of having 70 members between the 2 gyms that jump back and forth between the 2 gyms. And what happens? The 2 gyms just fight over the same 70 people that are moving back and forth. And nobody goes, hey, wait a minute. Shouldn't we maybe reach out to the other, I don't know, 99,000 people that we haven't even talked to or don't even know what we're doing? It's like we're just a bunch of fish swimming around this tiny little pond and we can't see outside of it. I got a good idea. I'm going to create some sort of competition and pay athletes and then have a certification. And then let's just go ahead and it's like CrossFit, but it's not. I said it on a couple shows a while back. It's like, without innovation, without somebody thinking about the ecosystem as a total, it's just a bunch of vultures picking off of a dead carcass laying on the side of the road. Hopefully 30 million people decide to show up for the carcass. Criminy. Okay. So yeah, that's Dumbbell Gate. And I completely agree with Standy. She's like, dude, this is a debate. It's a debate like every time with these online competitions. I don't get it. Stupid. Put them all inside of freaking CrossFit affiliates. Criminy. But that's the whole entire thing. And like, look, so now we're going to get into the CrossFit being sold. This is the freaking issue when it comes down to the last little bit of a company being sold. So where's it at? Okay, so here's what we've heard, and you guys already know this, that Malik and Company, backed by B Sport, backed by Saudi money, was going to buy CrossFit. So they put in an offer. Moelis Bank has it. Moelis Bank, the guy who, Daniel, whatever his name was, who's in charge of the deal, has a pretty big incentive to keep that sucker being shopped around to make sure that he maximizes his personal return and for the return from Moelis and Company. So just as we talked about before, if Berkshire says, okay, hey, yeah, we're giving it to people that are gonna, they're gonna own it and love you guys, just like we love you guys. No, they're not. They're looking for the highest rate of return, and then Moelis Bank is gonna do what they need to do to make sure that they get their personal return off of brokeraging that deal. Like, yep, okay. So it's not going to a bidder that's going to take care of it. It's going to whoever's going to have the most money. And if you think that there's anything beyond that, it's a pipe dream. One I like to believe in too. Guilty as charged. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. It's going to the highest bidder. So what have I heard? Well, originally we heard like last week that it was getting ready to be sold. It was done. The deal was done. Malik bought it, rolled that sucker up, and who knows what the next steps were going to be. I don't know. And that's another thing too. When you think about who's going to buy CrossFit, you at some point have to start campaigning to what it is you're going to do. And I thought we were starting to see that a little bit with Malik, but it was all kind of hearsay. Like there was nothing very aggressive about it. I would say the most aggressive comment that was made about the sell taking place and repercussions afterwards or whatever was made by Rich when he said that if the right people don't buy it, we're out. So a research firm stopped seeking additional info. The other thing I heard is that there's already another buyer that's a lot closer than anybody knows, but nobody knows who they are. Which sounds to me like that's just a play for that's just like another private equity or a bank buying it. Brett, Black Swan. I'm telling you, somebody fumbles the bag in between this sell and it going. It's like that could be a big, big problem. You know, it was interesting. Did you guys watch the show when Sevon brought that up when Greg was on? And he was like, yeah, Souza said there could be this Black Swan event. And then simultaneously, like a shitload of affiliates just decide, hey, we're all not going to pay. And legally, now you have to go after all of us. How's that going to work? And the whole thing becomes like Kleenex or Pilates or whatever, things that started out as IP protected, but then ended up just going away. Because if you don't protect that IP, legally, it's no longer yours. Oh, man. What do you guys think? What happens with the sell of CrossFit? I just don't. Personally, I don't think you're going to hear a lot. And then they might keep it real tight until possibly after the games or right at the games, which shows the idiocy of CrossFit in the company that buys it. If you think that the right time to announce that you purchased the company is like at the CrossFit games while everybody else is there, I don't think that's a good idea. Personally, I don't think that's a good idea at all. This is one podcast commenting from the show I'm on. The same way that affiliate owners look at profit and revenue per member, you can quickly figure out that with 8,000 affiliates, CrossFit isn't worth more than 100 million. Yeah, I think with 10,000 affiliates, CrossFit probably isn't worth more than 50 million. Because if you just look at that top line revenue, like there's just so much that internally has to happen. Like you got to bring everybody underneath one roof. You got to get everybody on the same page. You have to start making them afraid that they're going to lose their job. You have to bring some sort of clarity to like, what is going to happen to me in my job next? Because all as we've seen over the last couple of months and years, really, is just people jockeying for internal position at their job. There has been zero stability since 2018. Zero. So think about that. That's like 8 years, 7 to 8 years of no internal stability in a company. The only reason CrossFit is still around right now is because of its massive success in the beginning days. That's it. That tidal wave rose like enough to carry it for a really long time off of past success. I think if you look at it now, unless you get somebody who really, really understands what to do with it, it's just going to continuously digress. And it's crazy to me too, because the whole entire health and fitness industry as a total is the media aspect of it is so ripe. Like there's so much talk about it now. There's so many different people. Like it is absolutely insane how much media power there could be right now around the health and fitness space that could push people more towards CrossFit. It's nuts. Will no rep you. If Rich were to unaffiliate, I wonder how many affiliates on Mayhem programming would leave. Well, the question doesn't become like how many people on the Mayhem programming are like this. Like, and listen, and I'm going to say this too, and I mean this with love, because a lot of people love like the whole programming thing. If you think programming workouts has anything to do with the survival of CrossFit in the company, you're fucked. You're so far away. But to Will's point, I know you weren't saying that. If Mayhem de-affiliated, like that's where you start to see like that break in the potential black swan event. Because if they're like, we're out, and other people that are with them are like, we're kind of out, we're kind of in, and a bunch of people don't know, slowly it just falls apart. And then CrossFit has to spend way more time doing due diligence to keep all those affiliates together than they have to run a company. So you imagine if you like have the fork in the road, like, save our IP or like save the company as a total, and you only have enough money to do one or the other, it puts you in a really bad position. Sell me on being a CrossFit affiliate is a better business decision than a high rock affiliate at this moment. Okay. That's a completely wrong question to begin with. I'm not like, sell me on this. No, that's the fucking problem. You've conflated something. You said, okay, so sell me on how a ride at Disneyland is better than watching a Disneyland movie. What? It's all Disneyland first and foremost. And like, what are you talking about? One of them is like a specific ride. So that would be like, let's reverse the clock 7 or 8 years and say, what's the point of being a CrossFit affiliate, or should I be a Spartan affiliate? Well, I don't know. Are you going to position your whole entire gym around preparing you for a High Rocks? I don't get that. Because one is just a weekend thing, and the other one is a fitness protocol that is put in application to make you better at other things. So there's no, like, it's an impossible comparison. And that's what we'll start to talk about a little bit with the WPF and MetFix as well. It's hard to recreate the original thing with nothing innovative. Nothing innovative. So you're better off. Here's a real question, Draw Your Dagger. Why should I pay for an affiliateship anywhere? Why don't just save any of that money? And why not be Draw Your Dagger Fitness? That's the real question you need to ask yourself. Not they all provide so much value, I wonder which one I'm going to pick. No, it's like, does it even matter? Sagundi's nuts, but Matt Frazier and WHPO are doing High Rocks. Okay, strike everything I said from the record. Draw your dagger. Go with CrossFit, because if Frazier and HWP are involved, it's only a matter of time before High Rocks has to stop doing competitions due to suicidal thoughts. ABC. If Rich, who is practically, in quote, the face of, in quote, the godfather of CrossFit, were to de-affiliate, I think it would be a mass exodus entirely. Do you? I think it would definitely draw a lot of rift, but I don't know. I think we might be we might be overvaluing Mayhem and Rich's stake in the claim there. I do think it would definitely cause a rift, but a mass exodus? I don't know. Feels like a CrossFit cover band sometimes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we are going to get some information on the company being sold or not being sold. My prediction is going to be within like the next 3 months. I would have for sure thought it was happening way sooner than that, but all that conversation, everything has died down. So 2 things are either happening. Either it is getting close, and so everybody's like really tightening up as far as what's going out there, or it's not close at all, and that deal is exactly in the same place it was a month or so ago. a month or so ago. We are a Hybrox affiliate, which I wasn't very happy about, but I would be lying if I said it didn't bring in a lot of new people. Well, yeah, but here's the deal. And I was going through and listening to some of the Chris Cooper podcast with Emily Kaplan because I got a couple clips I'm going to play with that. And the question is, okay, so that brought in a lot of new people. So number one, that whole statement in Ernie, I love you, but like when we're having a business conversation, the whole statement of a lot of new people means absolutely nothing to me. Like, so if you were like, hey, we had 30 members of the gym, we slap High Rocks on the door, we got 30 new people that showed up that month specifically because we put High Rocks on the door. Awesome. Good improvement. What does the churn look like? Because getting new members through the door in terms of having some sort of sustainable business isn't necessarily the issue. It's keeping them that is the issue. So if they sign up and they sign up for a month or two and then they do their High Rocks competition and they bounce, not that great. Now, if you're savvy and you're gym savvy, if you use that to bring them in through the door and then you hook them on CrossFit protocol that you're doing inside your gym and they stay for a really long time, then fantastic. That is a great way to bring members into your gym. But remember, that's a lead magnet. That's not a value proposition. And there's two very different things there, right? A lead magnet just brings them in. The value proposition that your gym offers keeps them there. If you're constantly just chasing turn, meaning I get 10 new members in and then 10 new members leave, like now all of a sudden you're just on a hamster wheel. You're never going to have sustainable revenue. You'll never be able to build up any savings. You'll never be able to start to expand that gym more than just keeping the churn. So to rewrite that question and really drive that point, or to rewrite that statement and really drive that point would be like, hey, we used High Rocks affiliate as a lead magnet. It cost us $1,000. We got 30 new members. So the ROI on that was like a 3-to-1, meaning we paid $1,000, we made $3,000. And we know it's a great deal because we know the lifetime value of our customer is X amount. Maybe they stay for 6 months or something like that. And you're like, so we end up getting, another 3,000. So you add that in and now your LTV times your cost to acquire customer makes sense. But that's completely different than saying like the affiliateship brought enough proposition value. Okay, now we could use that same exact conversation when we talk about the value proposition of CrossFit. And for some of you guys, you could use this in the past, which might make you help wrap your head around this, which is I showed up because I wanted to do CrossFit. It was a lead magnet. Marketing was crazy. CrossFit was publishing every day. Media, it was just a media fire hose of stuff coming out with information around CrossFit. It's like, awesome. So there's your lead magnet, CrossFit HQ marketing and saying, we have cracked the code on exercise science. And like, this is the protocol that works the best, which is great because then when they show up, the proof is in the pudding. They get the results that were marketed to them and they stay. So you could imagine like the two different things between a value proposition and lead magnet. CrossFit name isn't drawing any new members currently. And that is the issue with CrossFit HQ. Because as you look at that, right? Like the name has to have value. Otherwise, the brand is completely worthless. Or in the case of like, if it has, negative stuff tied to it, then it's even, it does the opposite effect, right? So to Mason Mitchell's point, and this is the way that I see it too, is like, you have to build the CrossFit name, the brand back up. So that way it becomes not only a marketing and lead magnet tool, but as they go into the gym, it becomes sticky because it's a value proposition. And they've gotten so far away from talking about it. Like CrossFit has gotten so far away from talking about how CrossFit is a value proposition. But I did find this clip. And truth be told, I haven't even watched it all the way through. So let's watch this, and then we're going to transition into some Brian Front stuff right afterwards. Here we go. It just had Stephen Roche on it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to save this for the show. I didn't even know if it was any good or not. And I hope that makes sense. The difference between a lead magnet and a value proposition. Okay. Oh, it's too tight of the zoom in. All right, here we go. Stefan Roche. This is from the CrossFit Training Instagram.
A CrossFit affiliate. If you want to do CrossFit, if you want to dramatically transform your health and fitness, find a CrossFit affiliate in your area and walk through that front door, and they will change your life. And you will look back in a few days and say, this was the best decision I ever made. Find a CrossFit affiliate. If you want to do CrossFit, if you want to dramatically transform your health and fitness, find a CrossFit affiliate in your area and walk through that front door.
So that's a great start. It should be stuff like that at scale. And then you show a bunch of B-roll to give context to what Stefan Roche is saying there. And literally, like, that is, like, you have to do that all the time. And people way more often need to be reminded than they need to be taught. And a lot of times we look for, like, new bells and whistles to put on the L1, or, like, we got to make it fancier. Whatever Ben Bergeron now, he's adding, like, character to it or something. And it's like, no, you don't need to add anything to it. It's already there. You have to just constantly repeat the message. Constantly repeat the message ad nauseum to where people can repeat it back to you. Then you know that's a good marketing strategy. Draw your dagger. What's the dollar plus or negative you need to stay affiliated? I'm thinking I'm loyal to the point where it could cost me some money, and I'd stay affiliated because I feel indebted. 11 years and continuing. Congrats on 11 years. Awesome. I'm coming up on 12 myself. Here's the thing. It's whatever, $375 a month to affiliate. A couple different things that you could bring into that equation. Number one, does it still bring people to your door? And do you actually have the ability to track that? Because I would say majority of the affiliates don't have tracking on where or why their members come through the door. So let's assume that we have our tracking down. We're good. We talk to our members. We ask them, hey, how'd you find out about us? Who told you about us? How'd you find this? Whatever. Okay. And so all as you need is like 2 people a month, really, to be like, oh, I typed in CrossFit gym near me, or my friend told me to go to a CrossFit gym, or I did X, Y, and Z, and I typed in CrossFit, and then it brought me to you. And to me, that's the lowest form of the value proposition. So I'm not like defending that and saying that's a good thing, because as Mason pointed out, and I agree with Mason, is he said, like, that ain't working no more. It is in some areas, but it might not be as effective in other areas. And that is the job of CrossFit HQ, to make that brand as valuable as possible. The scary thing is when they started turning CrossFit HQ website into a lead magnet. From that point forward, you're like, oh, this is fucked. And that's what happens when you listen to gyms, by the way. Because then what do they tell you? I need more members. And so what do? CrossFit HQ tries to act like a lead magnet. That is not the case. All right, then we could jump right into boom. Okay. All right. The old Rich Fronin podcast. But Souza, there's an app that could track such a thing. Damn right. Wodify could track it. Damn right. Thank you, Adam. Brett, I got a big fat 0 leads from that lead magnet. Me too. I've gotten people that have, like, they've sent me names of people. Every single person that I've contacted either had never answered or has never come back. CrossFit, I missed the old site. Me too. The barbell spin. Kale Lehman has not yet registered for semifinals. Thank you for that update, Ryan. We were all on the edge of our seat if he was going to register or not. Or stick with CrossFit, Nick. Or stick with CrossFit because it is the best system for training with in high LTV members come from referrals rather than online traffic and interest. Yep. Don't disagree with that. I do not disagree with that. Okay. So this will transition nicely from what we we're just talking about. Value proposition and what is important in the CrossFit ecosystem. And if I had a little pie chart, more time to build out visuals for you guys, I would have this pie chart, and this would be the CrossFit ecosystem. And the point that Greg always made in a lot of his stuff was his job was to expand, or the job of HQ was to expand the pie, make the CrossFit ecosystem bigger. And what happened is that switched, especially when it got purchased by private equity, is now everybody isn't worried about growing the pie. They're worried about growing their slice of the pie. It looks like a land grab. And that's how the CrossFit ecosystem eats itself. Because it doesn't need to be a land grab. It goes back to the very first conversation when I started this, and I was talking about how if your two gyms are fighting over 70 people that are going back and forth from the gyms, and you got 100,000 people to worry about, like, you're focused on the wrong things. And it feels a little bit like we're at that now. So what is the value proposition of the WFP? That's a major question here. And the first thing that I go to when I hear value proposition, and you guys are caught up because we just had this conversation, is like, how do you grow the ecosystem? If I'm going to be a WFP affiliate, right? What does that mean to me? If I'm going to be a MetFix affiliate, like, what does that mean to me? We just had the conversation about being a CrossFit affiliate and what it could or should or did mean. And of course, let's really get down to the matter with our friend, Brian Friend. 7, make the pie bigger so everybody can make money. Larger pie and the smaller percentage HQ grits, but everybody wins. That's right. Do not forget that Jeff Bezos only owns 12% of Amazon, my friends. HGR, private equity is only concerned about cutting costs and sticking to it, and sucking whatever money they can. Yep, cancer. Yeah. So, Nick, Souza, are you no longer working with or for MetFix? Correct. I am 100% focused on building a media company now. And of course, my gym, but the two feed each other quite a bit. And I'm positioning them to continue to feed each other quite a bit because I love the gym, love having the gym. But I want to build a media company. I am building a media company. Okay, here we go.
The issue that I have at this point is with how the sport's being handled and governed
Sport
and run.
and community, sport and affiliates.
I don't know as much about the affiliates.
Yeah.
I don't know as much about the training.
Yeah.
So you won't hear me talk about that much because it's outside of my area of expertise.
Let me just play this real quick. What in the world? Okay. So we're going to start a new thing, and we've dumped a bunch of money into it. And nobody fucking knows anything about it. It's like Brian Friend had an opportunity to at least fake a freaking value proposition. And for me, that one statement let the whole cat out of the bag. It was like, I don't know anything about affiliates or training. That's not my expertise. Not faulting Brian with that at all. Affiliates and training fund the sport. Affiliates and training fund the sport. If you do not have an audience that cares about these people doing thrusters, there is no sport. If you do not have a distribution center, such as an affiliate in their audience, so that way when the sponsors sponsor the sport, there's humans that buy their stuff. If there's not humans that buy the stuff of the sponsors will not put their money in the sport. If there's no money in the sport, there is no sport. We're all on the same page with this, right? And if you would like if anybody thinks I'm wrong, please let me know. If you think that somehow money is going to dump into this sport because we should care about people doing this without having humans that are there to buy the thing, you are the WNBA. You're bitching that you want more, you deserve more, but it just ain't there. Just not there. So the fact that like there isn't some sort of debrief, like the WFP has not been like, hey, just either don't talk about it or like, here's the real value proposition or something. It's like, it's completely insane to me. But that one whole line, like, it was just like, okay, yeah, I don't think anybody is focused on it. And here's the reason why I say that is because we've only seen stuff from the athletes with when it comes to the WFP. We've only seen them, you know, whatever it is that they do, which is all paid, right? We all know that's just like a bunch of, essentially it was just like a bunch of paid marketing is all that was. Because until there's like the actual competition, they're not like paid athletes. Right now, they're all paid influencers. And we'll talk about the resource rich a little bit longer, because I truly believe that if you're resource rich, you tend to start smelling your own farts and thinking it smells like roses and other people want to smell it too. And then you get around other people outside of your little circle and you're like, check this out. And you're like, dude, this shit smells like a fart. You're like, no, what? You're so negative. Don't be so negative. Can we all just get along? Okay, we got one more here from the Be Friendly podcast. Maybe. Stand by. Hold on. Damn, my clips didn't work. Hold on. Damn. Okay. Let's see if I can find it. Here, let's find it. Damn. Didn't save my clip. Okay. I'm just going to talk about it rather than just trying to find it. So at one point in that podcast, Rich goes, up until like last year, he was like, I thought I was going to have to go back and work for the fire department. Up until like a year or two ago, Rich legitimately thought he was going to have to go back and get a job with the fire department. And he says in here, he's like, nothing against the fire department. It's like, if that's where I'm at, what's the hope for everybody else? And that is 100% the way that I see it. It's like a situation here where it's like, dude, this guy had like a 10-year Reebok contract. Seems very smart with the programming and being able to have like, you know, a long tail of the celebrity that he's built up, his name that he's built up in the space, and has been able to monetize that and keep that going for a really long time without being in the individual spotlight, which is really freaking hard to do. I mean, we're watching HWPO do it, watching Proven do it, and they seem like they're really struggling with being able to do that now. And Savon, that was the most important thing said in that podcast. I know, and I'm pissed I don't have the actual clip. I definitely put it in there. It just didn't save it to what I wanted it to. But the point being is that if Rich is saying this, that needs to be a complete warning to everybody else that thinks that if there's just some changes, like if we fire Dave, somehow we're all going to be able to be rich and build careers off of this. And like, I could make the argument that if you fired Dave, that would almost ensure that you will never make a career out of this. I'm finding it now. Fuck it, you guys. If Savon could take 2-minute breaks on here looking for something, so could I, right? I always crack up when that happens because a lot of the times I listen to the podcast when I'm driving. So like I'm driving to the gym or to the fire station or just whatever, not to the gym. The gym's 5 minutes away. But usually when I'm going out to Hayward and back and stuff, and then all of a sudden it just goes like dead silent in my headphones. I'm like, shit, did I lose it? What happened? Where's the thing at? And then I just look up and I was like, oh, he's just like checking a text or something. Okay, you like that? Told the story, distracted you guys, found the clip, and I got it up here. Damn, I'm so good. God, look at that. Savage like that. Okay, here we go. Here's the clip straight from the goat's mouth.
screwed, and I don't know what the hell's going to happen to my, every year when I'd finish the CrossFit games, I'm like, maybe this is the year I go back to the fire department, like that. I thought that was happening up until 2021. And then 2021, I was like, all right, I guess we've made enough money that I could, not go back to the fire department. Seriously, I'm not, and that's not BSing. Like that's 100% true. And I'm not making fun of going back to the fire department.
But think about all those guys, all those years that didn't.
I agree with it, and so part of me is like, hell, my whole year.
I'm glad I found that clip because that was necessary. Like oh damn. Dense. Hey, can you find me this? Could I ask you for this clip then? Can you ask when Brian says, I don't know why those guys don't share my message? I couldn't find that one. And I thought that was a interesting line. Yeah, okay. I think he said up until 2020. Yeah. So imagine that, dude. Since when was the first year he won the games? 2012, 2011. So 2011, 10 years. He went essentially going, shit, this might be the last year. Shit, might be the last year. Might be the last year. Right? So like, can you imagine that? Nick, I guess that makes sense. Probably took until 21 before he had 10 to 15 million cash. Dude, 10 to 15 million cash. Like, I like you, buddy. Do some math on that though. Please. He built a business in that time. I do not think that the Reebok deal was crazy lucrative like that. I mean, I know he had a lot of money, but yeah. So I don't know if it was that much, because pretty much, dude, as long as you don't really fuck it up, if you got like $1 million in the bank, especially in Tennessee, like he had that locked away and it was giving him some sort of return on that, like he could probably make like 50 grand a year off of that. And so, like, let's say he had double that, 2 million in cash that sat somewhere without return. Like, he's making way more than enough to like not have to have a job. So unless his lifestyle is, extravagant in spending, I don't know. But I don't know, 10 to 15. Like if you get $10 million, like if you have $10 million in investments and like you're not like, you're good. You're good. Unless you royally fuck it up, like you're good. So yeah, CrossFit, I doubt liquidity, maybe net worth. Yeah. 8% is, you get a little crazy, Barclay. I know you're the math dude, but like let's stick with 5% on that return. So yeah, that's yeah. Janelle, these are not football players, people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, dude. Like investments plus assets plus cash. It's like maybe, and who knows like what his personal threshold was, because that matters a lot, right? Like if you're like, okay, I need 5 million in investments to like make my return and not have to work or have to worry about it or have these emergency expenses come up or something like that. But for him to say that publicly, like my guess is that he did not have that much in the bank and was just making the point of like, dude, if you guys are doing this because you think you're going to get some like NFL, to quote Janelle there, you're going to get some like NFL contract from this and ride off to the sunset like Tyson Bagent and go from like 30K a year to $1 million a year in guaranteed money that's coming to you from the franchise that's in a contract and not just like hoping to win the games for a couple $100,000, which by the way, like 50% of that goes to taxes. So yeah, it would be interesting. And Nick, somebody do the math on the number of Mayhem Athletes subscribers and what we think it cash flows each year. Again, you would just have a gross revenue line. So really what you want to know is two things, right? Like how much money is it intaking? And more importantly, how much money is he burning? Like that media team isn't cheap. All the people that's in place to run everything for him, like none of that's cheap. So like, if you're going to do it, you got to really, the expenses matter a ton on that. Okay, let's go through one more. Okay. All right. Last one from the Rich Be Friendly podcast, unless we get a timestamp for that last thing. I won't keep you guys waiting on that one. All right, here we go.
There's also a lot.
That was the extent of Angelo's participation in the podcast. Just a friendly laugh. Just kidding, Angelo. Just kidding. Just kidding. I love you.
Due to the lack of communication, there's a lot of rumors that have been like, oh, that's a rumor, but then it turns out to be true. Like the affiliate program, it was like, hey, we're not going to compete with CrossFit, but now there's an affiliate program. We're not going to compete with
the
the
games.
games, but
We're not going to make people choose.
the dates are lining up. Like it's just stuff like that. And maybe, we're reading into it too much, but also when there's not the communication, it allows people the space to read into it.
Well, I can definitely shed some light on some of that stuff if you guys want.
Oh, yes, please.
But also, I mean, they have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And they can't tell everything at once, and they can't do everything at once. And there's a lot. They are doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I think I would definitely agree. And I think they would agree too, that some of the ways that those things have come out or even been rolled out by them are not perfect and not optimal.
The word's probably disingenuous, Brian. Disingenuous. That's what I might think. Listen, it looks like a replica starting from sport reverse engineering into affiliates. But like the conversation that I was having with Ernie about the High Rocks affiliation, the WFT Q Plus, they're running into the same issue. Running into the same exact issue. Now, here's the other problem. It's not necessarily the value proposition. It would have just been smarter if you guys showed up, FPTQ Plus, and just said, hey, we're going to be an alternative to CrossFit. Just throw it out there. I mean, at least you don't start with a lie. Because if you remember, that started with Mr. Eric Rosa. And I think the one thing that this community is just completely fucking sick of is just like the BS that's thrown in front of us. Like, oh, well, things just weren't rolled out perfectly. They're trying to do a lot. It's like, what? What does that mean? What is that? I'm trying to do a lot. They can't do it all at once. No shit.
And that
all right, let me clear that out. Okay. I just wanted to talk about those. I don't know. I just like to spell it out a little bit because sometimes things get conflated and there's like this back and forth and other voices get involved in the conversation. And it's not that it's not complicated. It's not complicated. And so we're moving on. Is CrossFit in hot water? Are they? Now this could be a major issue for CrossFit here. I want to play this real quick. Okay. And these two are stacked together for a reason. And you guys could kind of look at this. This came from the late night talk with the crew here. Side note, the Friday night update shows, like especially in the last couple of weeks, have been so fun. Like I get so pumped listening to them, either like finishing up at the gym or like coming home at night and like just laughing and having a good time and being like, man, it's so cool that we do these shows. Just like it's cool. Like without it, like what would it exist? Like the rest of the stuff that's out there. I mean, I'm clearly biased, but all right, here we go. It's gonna start with Bill, I think, maybe Stefan.
Again, like all of a sudden now I'm like, I don't know
I
what
think
it even is. Like to me, it should just be a library resource, not trying to. They're trying to make money. And this is where I think the issue is. They are wanting to be a resource element for the trainers to make them better. Maybe have some certifications out there, whatever. But all of these other things that
Tyler's not buying it. Ooh, that's interesting. I actually actually watched this a couple times and I didn't see Tyler's reaction until that one. That's interesting.
Now they're trying to do is like literally trying to carbon copy what the old affiliate version for CrossFit was. We'll give you all this information.
There was that
and-
post with 15 or flow masters. I mean,
I
they're
know. I
they're
mean,
clearly trying to poach the flow
I get
masters
it.
from CrossFit HQ. And it's CrossFit sent an email out to all the employees today, reminding them
who they work for.
yeah, like, hey, it's
Do you
very
want
interesting.
an
The
official
timing's very
paycheck or a
interesting.
maybe paycheck?
Yes. There was an email sent out that was like, hey, remember that you can't work for people if there's a conflict of interest.
All right. Interesting, right? So I was thinking a little bit about that. And
It was like
I
a
was like,
reminder of what
this
they
could
signed.
actually be like a serious problem for CrossFit. That could be a serious. Wait, what did Mason say? TSP seems to be keeping the CrossFit sport afloat. Yeah, only if they paid us, right? Okay, so that could be pretty serious. And hot press release here. I have this. Hold on, let me find the. All right. Okay. So in response to that, this was sent over to me, and it's a misclassification. So this was sent to Emily for me, and it's misclassification of workers occurs. Oh, here, let me share the screen. Sorry, guys. Okay, misclassification of workers occurs when an employer is improperly classifies their employees as independent contractors so they do not have to pay payroll taxes, minimum wage, or overtime, or comply with other wage or hour law requirements such as providing meal periods and rest breaks. Misclassification or labeling a worker as an independent contractor when they should be an employee undermine businesses who play by the rules and basic worker protections like minimum wage, paid sick days, and safety of workplaces. Additionally, the misclassified worker has no workers' compensation coverage if injured on the job, no right to family leave, no unemployment insurance, no legal right to organize or join a union, and no protection against employer relations. This is a form of fraud. Holy shit. Okay. So what does that mean? That means, like, if that's the case, and there is this misclassification of the trainers in this case is what we're referencing, right? Because in that show you saw there was a Savon had talked about the trainers that are currently L1 red shirts that are now involved with MetFix to some degree. We don't know what it is that they're involved with. It didn't showcase that they have jobs there, but we're assuming that a lot of those trainers who are very versed in CrossFit, in the methodology, in the diet side of things, are giving input and potentially may become trainers for MetFix. So what's the problem with that? Well, if CrossFit sent out that email and said, hey, you guys can't go work for them because it's a conflict of interest, and that wasn't within the legal right of CrossFit, because they were mislabeled, like they should have been employees, but they're contractors, and since they're contractors, CrossFit can't tell them to go work for somebody else. That could be a problem, because now if the state decides to look into it for any reason and goes like, okay, well, let's look into what's going on here with CrossFit, and it is a misclassification, that could be fraud. And if the fraud comes out on CrossFit, that could be a massive problem for them, especially if the sale is happening. That could put a big riff in it, because if it's about to trade hands and all of a sudden something like this comes up and it's like, hey, that's a conflict of interest, then that could open up this whole can of worms in terms of the fraud stuff for CrossFit. Now, the interesting thing is, and I have this clip for you guys here, which you could draw your own conclusions on. Let me find it. Now, this is from the Chris Cooper podcast with Emily, and then we'll dive into thoughts on it here. Hopefully, this is the right timestamp. Priminy. Okay, here we go.
it's scary to take on sugar. It's scary to take on pharma. It's scary to say, like, you guys, you don't need this. But like, we're not scared to do it because we know that we have the evidence behind us. In the risks that they're willing to take, we're not. Right. And so it can be a complementary thing. And I think that, you know, just to sort of clear up some of that confusion too, I would say, I don't want to say 100%, but I think 99% of our first 100 MetFix affiliates are all either CrossFit affiliates currently or were.
Right.
So there's no, you know, I don't like, for us internally, there's no conflict.
Right. Okay. I just want to ask one question about nutrition coaching before I really want to talk about the CrossFit affiliation
Let
stuff
that play
too.
out for a second.
I think, you know, Greg's genius has always been the ability to make the complicated very simple and actionable. And I can remember actually, Greg.
Okay. So there you go. That came right from her. And she says, we're not a conflict. She says that we're not in competition, so therefore there shouldn't be a conflict of interest. The issue is CrossFit going to see that the same way? Now, the other thing too, which is there's a lot of speculation on. Let me see if I could find this. No, no, that's Rich again. Okay. All right. Well, we don't have that clip exactly, but the point of it is the same thing with the WFP is what's happening is the public perception is making it feel like, wait, is this a competitor to CrossFit or is this not? And then with the trainers from CrossFit having some involvement in MetFix, again, we assuming they're not employed or anything like that, right? There's nothing that says that they're employed. But if it's not a conflict of interest because they're not competitors with CrossFit, does that still negate them as like contractors? And is like, can CrossFit still say there's a conflict of interest? And then Brandon here brings up a very good question. They definitely have jobs. Joe Deegan sold his gym in Minnesota a month before he showed up for MetFix. Interesting. Brandon says they are employees, not contractors. Okay. So, will there be Michigan? Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Will they be, will they be classified as contractors or employees? If they are truly employees of CrossFit, then what CrossFit sent out to them is true. Then they cannot go work for MetFix. They will have to decide because that would become a conflict of interest between CrossFit and MetFix, which is interesting, right? Ohio. Now you're just saying stuff, Kyle. They are being offered jobs for sure. So if that's the case, then it kind of goes back to what Bill said in that other clip too. Like, do you want a paycheck or do you want a maybe paycheck? Which is interesting, right? So like, if you're an employee at CrossFit, then I don't think you could become a contractor for MetFix. Or if you're currently an employee at CrossFit, then for sure that's a conflict of interest. So you could get fired for that. That's going to get interesting. I wonder if anybody knows. Is there a red shirt in the chat? Could they tell us? Hi, I'm a red shirt, and I'm an employee of CrossFit. So here's the deal. If it is going to be a competitor of CrossFit, just like I was talking about in terms of with the WFP, like the more that kind of dances around that question without harpooning it, the tougher that's going to be to walk that back later. Oh, nice. Texted one and ask. We'll report back later. Interesting. Did Dale King de-affiliate? I don't think so. I think he's currently a MetFix gym into CrossFit gym. I don't know that for sure, but I think that's what's happening right now. Franco, Souza, why are you not a part of it anymore? Focusing on the media company. The demand to spin up a certification and education company, along with also having an affiliates, like that's a very, very demanding undertaking. And to really be involved in that and like do it at a high level, it's going to take a lot. And, oh no, there we go. Dale Clean cleared it up. He did not de-affiliate. When Google gets people from Apple, does that make them competitors? Yeah, 100%. It absolutely does. And the way that I kind of see it, just to be frank about it, is not like Frank, the whole socialist movement. Whoops. 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 Where's the button? There it is. Found it. Third one. Yeah, because like that's exactly what those tech companies do, is they just try to recruit the best talent. I want the best software engineer because I also make software. So if Apple has really good engineers, I'm just going to go over there and snag their engineers and bring them on over to Apple, because that would just make the most sense. Like they already have the talent. They already know they're working. So I would just pull them over. It would make the most sense. And it'd be the easiest way to scale the certification, because if you already have people that are super knowledgeable about it, your training time goes down significantly, and the resources it would take to train your people go down significantly. Souza, that lady Hannah from Illinois I told you about is also a CrossFit gym with MetFix. Yes. I believe majority of them will be for a while. You'll have some people that'll be like, F that, and we're done with CrossFit. I'm signing on to MetFix, screw them. And then you'll have people that'll like ride both for a little bit. The big thing comes to like your decision within your own community. Sometimes taking CrossFit off the name of your building and rebranding everything could result in loss of members. Could not matter at all. It just totally depends on like your community. So like however that kind of rolls. Yeah, so most people do it. Andrew Hiller, could you just have made the L1 better? No. I don't think you can make the L1 better. And I think you could have spin-offs of it, or you could go deeper into subjects, but you can't recreate it. And this is just my opinion, but like having read the L1 manual, like a lot of it word for word, as I turned them into audio versions of it, like there is not a wasted word in a lot of those articles. Like there's not a wasted word. So to recreate that, I don't know. No. I think it'll look like it was an attempt to recreate it. So, and that would not come off well. Devesh, tech companies like that usually have non-compete clauses with a buyout amount if the other company wants them to just pay the buyout. I've had a buyout before. I heard in California that doesn't exist though. I heard in California that doesn't exist. DocSpartan.com. You see the Matuthian up in the right-hand corner. Cinnamon now available. Go get it while supplies last. And then are we going to have the Doc Spartan scissor pube cutters? Maybe. A little safeguard on it. Tyler Watkins, don't ask CrossFit or MetFix about it. It's legit. Fair enough. CrossFit owns the L1. Yep. Oh, interesting. Okay, this is the reported back. Oh, red shirt said employee. Red shirt said employee. Interesting. All right, so then that might pose a problem. I don't know enough about the legality there, but if that's the case and they are employees and not contractors are reported back from the L1, then that's interesting. But did you see my comment about the job post? No, I didn't. There's a comment about the job post. Let's scroll. On the career section of the CrossFit website, it's listed as contract position, typically meaning 1099. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if it's some of them are, some of them aren't. Like, I have no idea about how they're classified. But that is interesting. And maybe they start out as contractors, and then once there's a certain period of time, they come in. Dan Guerrero. When we bought the gym, it was de-affiliated and we wanted to have an affiliate every year since, but that's a hefty fee when we have equipment that needs replacing. Yeah, that is tough. Like for most affiliate owners, like deciding on those affiliate fees, or like sometimes it may just come down to just a simple math problem for you. You're just like, dude, we can't afford it, or we can. Some gyms that can afford multiple affiliations, like maybe even the one that Ernie goes to, they might have MetFix affiliation, they might have High Rocks affiliation, they might have WFP QT Plus affiliation, and they might have CrossFit. So like, I mean, why not? It might just come down to a dollar amount, right? And if you got it, it ain't pimping if you got it. It ain't tricking if you got it. Okay. Kyle, what's up, man? MetFix Games 2026 is going to crown the healthiest human on earth. Yeah, that would be cool. All the metabolic metrics, and then you get the most metabolically fit person. Flow masters are employees, multiple days. Employed by an employee of are not necessarily the same thing. Interesting. Oh, Chase. Most all red shirts are 1099. Interesting. Okay. Okay. And the thing too is like Emily's no dummy. Like she does, she does her homework. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for them. How that plays out. CrossFit and hot water. That kind of killed both those with one go there. Because the CrossFit potentially being in hot water and the MetFix thing kind of went side by side simultaneously. Dude, could you like what happens if CrossFit is actually in breach of that and it's like the fraud thing? I imagine that could cost them a lot of money in legal troubles. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Lauren, non-compete is not enforceable in California. And you knew that to be true too, because all those tech companies, that's all they do is they just pass software engineers and stuff back and forth, just like poaching other people from companies. And those tech companies own California. Like there's more billionaires now, I think, in San Francisco than anywhere else in the world. So they, come on. We know the laws are for the poor. At least laws where you get fined simply for the poor. So like once the tech companies are like, yeah, we're done with that. Let's just make that non-enforceable. Like, okay, cool. Disclaimer, I cannot speak as an employee of CrossFit LLC, but as a former red shirt. Okay, you got that? HQ. Chase got the disclaimer and leave my man alone. Easy salary up when you go from one to the next. Yeah, exactly. I make 100K over here, but Apple's going to pay me 125. I was trying to see if I had one more clip from Instagram. Oh yes. I'm so glad I remembered this one. We'll save that. We'll save it right for the end. Okay. So what I think about with this, and especially with the what Dale said. Dale King, Greg didn't originally have it in the affiliate agreements that you couldn't have trainers under non-compete. Didn't Greg originally have it in the affiliate agreements that you couldn't have trainers under non-competes? Oh, so like if that's interesting. So he was like protecting the trainer, meaning if I start at gym A and gym B is like crushing it up the street for me, and I'm like, man, I really align with them and I want to go over there. Like I can't be in any legal trouble by leaving one gym and going to work at the other, or maybe even working both of them at the same time. Interesting. Robert Allen, they are not in breach. They can require whatever they want of a 1099. Interesting. Franco, everyone in this chat using ChatGPT to sound knowledgeable. You are correct, CrossFit, but they can decide to not hire 1099s out of spite. Contract labor is pretty ruthless. Look at what the tech companies do with them. Yeah. So then they just don't hire him back and they're like, screw you. Jonathan Ortega, I sound knowledgeable when you got Chat GPT. So whenever you get into this situation where you have a lot of resources, Nick, Matt, I read every comment, Souza. I did that just because I saw that middle one. When you get into a position, so let me start this over. There used to be this saying in the graffiti world, the aerosol arts. And it used to be that if it doesn't look good in 2 colors, it's not going to look good in 8. And the way that I like to think about that is like, you could have a ton of resources to throw a bunch of stuff. And like, we'll take the WFQTP Plus as the example. So they got a lot of money. They went and just started contracting out everybody that was a high profile athlete. Okay. You're like, cool. We've seen this stuff with the, whatchamacallit, the vacations, as we like to call it, with Will Moore and all them are at Hawaii and they're doing all these discussions and they're like, you know, doing all this cool stuff and ramping it up and they got media now and we're seeing this stuff. So they got a lot of money, right? Like that's not a surprise to anybody. The problem is with that is when you have a lot of money and you're dumping it into this stuff, it's really easy to create a false success. So if you were to take all those same contracts with all those different athletes, and you were to say like, hey guys, we're in a tough position. We want to keep you on, but we're going to take the money that we promised you guys. We're still going to give it to you, but we're just not going to give it to you for a full year. We need to take this money and we need to now pour it into the company so we can really build a good foundation to build this WFPTQ plus from. And you're like, okay, great. We're all on the same team. Take my money and let's go ahead and build this company together. And I'm halfway smiling because you know they would all jump ship immediately. They're only there for the money. So this goes back all the way to the front of the beginning of the show when I was talking with Ernie about the difference between a lead magnet and a value proposition. The lead magnet was the cash. Typically, you would stay for the value proposition. So, okay, this is confusing. What do you mean, Matt? When you go back and you watch the original behind the scenes with the first cohort, the first generation of athletes that came up, Savon asked the question all the time. Hey, are you here for the money? Hey, what if there is no money? Hey, and all of them said the same thing. I'd be doing it because I want to be the fittest on earth. I'm doing this because I want to be the fittest on earth. Not a lot of them said like, hey, I'm here because I'm contracted and I'm a contracted athlete. So the value proposition that those people showed up for was because they loved training and they wanted to be the fittest on earth. They wanted to show up and prove it. That was their value proposition. That was their incentive. And that shows the difference because those people all showed up for free. Majority of them, it cost them a ton of money, lost money on it. And now when you have something like an entity coming in to contract all of them, they're not showing up there because the value that that entity brings, they're showing up there because they got paid to. The other thing with that too is as you're burning all this money on cost, you're building your team, we're doing these meetings, I got all this stuff, we're building all these back-end systems in, we got a bunch of media out, we're doing all this stuff. Like once you get that burn rate of cash under control, you then have to have something that makes more than you're burning to be able to actually make a company stand on its own. And we have not seen an entity like the CrossFit Games, Wodapalooza, or anything else be able to stand on its own, meaning bring in more cash than it spends. So it's self-sustaining. All of these are subsidized. And what happens is like, if you end up with the subsidization of it, it's like, hey, what happens when that goes away? What happens when you have to say, hey guys, now we have to turn a profit here so this thing could stand on its own? It's not going to, because you're not used to operating under those conditions. You're used to having it all there. You're resource rich. So then when I hand you 2 cans, a black and a white, and I say, pay me a masterpiece, it looks like trash. And then it's exposed saying, oh shit, we never really had much there anyways. We just had all these fancy colors and all these little doodads and stuff like that that made it look fancy. But it's not. Huge anus. Hey man, my aunt had tits, she'd be my uncle. You know what I'm saying? Oh, how long's the runway? And is there a defined one from WF? Dude, no. There's no defined ones. Patrick Clark, great show. Souza, gotta leave. Going on live to Woodland recap. Thanks, PC. Devesh, I wonder for you for now, the WFP will post a crying video like Craig Ritchie and start a GoFundMe. Damn, bro. Harsh. Oh shit, Matt Burns, not this day and age. Huge. Yeah, no kidding. Souza asked ChatGPT to program the 25 CrossFit games, and let's see what it says. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Just some stuff for you guys to think about. The other thing that I like to use, and you guys could use this, you coaches at the gym over there. I used to make the joke when newer members that need to just work on their foundations, right? Their squats kind of getting there, but they got some more mechanics to work through, and you really want them to slow down, not add a bunch of weight. And they would show up to me and they would say like, hey, what weightlifting shoes should I buy? Which one should I buy? What do you think would help my squat? And I'd always make the joke and be like, dude, you don't need $200 shoes when currently right now you have a 10-cent squat. Let's dial the mechanics in of your squat and make that better. Then you could worry about buying the fancy things later on. So just think about that. Lead magnets versus value proposition, resource rich versus resource poor, and what could actually stand on its own. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I had fun on today's show. We'll see you guys next week. And as always, be good to each other out there because that's all we got. And have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.